not everybody is there with you for the full journey, right? Some people are just there for a scene, right? Not everyone's there for the full movie. Exactly. And a lot of people say money will make you a bad person. Money doesn't make you a bad person. Money amplifies the person you already are. Never stop dreaming. Like your dreams are yours and yours alone. Nobody can take your dreams from you. The sooner you can start to work on yourself, the better your life's gonna get.
All right, hey guys, welcome back to the studio. Today we have Liam Pey, General Manager and Managing Partner for both Ford and GMC in Canada. Welcome to the studio, Liam.
Hey Mike, it's a pleasure to be here. You got a wicked studio, dude. This is awesome.
Thanks. It's so good to see you. You brought the whole family in with you from Vancouver.
Yeah. So we flew out from Vancouver. We flew into Toronto there to visit my dad. He's in Niagara-on-the-Lake. And then we drove up early this morning with the whole family.
Yeah, beautiful baby. And your fiance, Kayla.
Thank you, yeah. Amaya is her name. She looks just like her mother, so she's lucky for that.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful baby. Your father, Colin, is amazing. I absolutely love connecting with your father. What
He's
a great
huge
man.
Beauty.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, he's got a lot of stories to tell.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't just have him on the podcast.
Oh, I'm going to have him on the podcast.
100%.
We're going to have the Colin Patey show.
He's got a lot to say.
Yeah. What a great man. And so, speaking of your baby, your beautiful baby, Amaya, what is it like right now? What is life like having this new beautiful baby in your life?
What a great question. It's the greatest thing that's ever happened to me, hands down. You know, it's almost hard to describe, and a lot of people, anyone out there who's thinking of having kids, you're never going to be ready for it. Just have them. Like, if you're thinking about it, just have them. We weren't ready. We didn't know. We didn't have it all figured out, but it's the greatest blessing that's ever came in my life. And I thank God every day that I had such a beautiful, healthy baby.
Yeah, that's a great answer, and I love watching the evolution of you throughout your journey into fatherhood, because we met through a personal professional development group, and the friendship has evolved from there. It's awesome to watch your family come together and your journey unfold. It's so good. And so your professional career, Ford, Chevrolet. Talk a little bit about your journey into that industry, into the auto industry.
Well, I started selling cars when I was 19. So I grew up in St. John's, Newfoundland. I'm from, if you've ever heard of Newfoundland, you know the Newfoundland dog, everything like that.
Yeah,
also, we pronounce it Newfoundland, not Newfoundland.
Yeah.
So it's a great spot. It's the most easterly point in North America. There's a lot of Irish ancestry there. If you ever speak to anybody from Ireland, they'll say that Newfoundlanders are like drunk Irish pirates is kind of how they put it. It's pretty funny, man.
Yeah.
Newfoundland's great. So I grew up there, small town. Spent a year of my life living in Abu Dhabi. So my dad was the senior vice president of a private healthcare company there. I'm sure he probably mentioned that to you prior to us connecting here on the podcast. And got to live there for a year. Really cool experience. But I was in Newfoundland. I went to university for my first semester, and my dad actually called me because my sister's got a PhD. She went in London. She's a professor at the University of PEI. Very smart woman. She's a theology professor. And I wanted to go to school. My mom was a nurse. She's an English professor. My dad was, I went over what he did, and he's got a master's degree. My whole family's well educated. And I wasn't really sure where I was going to go with my life when I was younger. So I thought, hey, maybe school's the path for me.
Yeah.
So I went in to start my business degree. I did my first semester at university, and I got a call from my dad one day, and he's like, hey, buddy, if you think I'm going to pay for you to go party, you got another thing coming.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, cool. I'll take a semester off, kind of hit the reset button, moved to Alberta. Edmonton, Alberta is where I started in the industry. But I got a job at a steel plant. So one day I almost lost my thumb. And I was making like $14 an hour. And back then it was 2007, 2008. That was a lot of money.
Yeah.
But it wasn't enough to lose your thumb. So I realized that maybe there's something else out there for me. I met a friend from Newfoundland in Edmonton, and he said, hey, why don't you try selling cars? It's a great career. You can do very well financially, and all you have to do is talk to people. I was like, so you mean to tell me I can get paid just for going to talk to people, which I do anyways, as you know, I'm very outgoing. And he's like, yeah. So I interviewed at a Ford store, ended up getting the job, and the rest is history, man. I've been doing it ever since. 18 years later, still here.
That's awesome. Now, how'd you find your way into the Andy Elliott group?
It's a great question, Mike. So I was running a dealership on Vancouver Island, which is where I still currently live. And for anyone who doesn't know, Vancouver Island is just off the coast of Vancouver. So we're about 50 kilometers or like 35 miles, however you want to put it, away from Vancouver, but we're landlocked. So we're on a little island. I started a dealership there, and we'll touch on that more later. But I was working at a dealership. I reached out to Andy Elliott on LinkedIn, and I was like, hey, I would love for my guys to get some really good coaching, because I've been following him on YouTube and watching what he does. He's a phenomenal coach, great energy, loved everything about him. So I reached out to him on LinkedIn, and he replied with an actual video, because everybody at the dealership was doubting there's no way Andy Elliott's actually talking to you.
Right.
So he's like, it's one of his guys, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously he's got people who manages social media and everything else. But yeah, no, he sent me a video, and then he connected me with Ian Macklin, who's the president of the company. And I got on a call with this guy. And when we first hopped on a call, the way I felt when I got off the call was the way I wanted all my clients to feel. Like, people will say that they'll never forget, they won't always remember what you say, but they'll never forget the way you made them feel.
Yeah.
And the way I felt after I got off the call with this guy was just so uplifted, so powerful. I mean, he was incredible on the phone. I was like, okay, I need my guys to be more like that.
Yeah.
So we brought on the Andy Elliott coaching into our dealership. We did it for about a year and a half. I found out Kayla was pregnant shortly actually after our engagement party. So going into the summer, I had found that out. It's kind of figuring out what I wanted to do from there. I mean, it's a big change. Once you find out that you're having a kid, if you've never had a kid before, like, it kind of rattles you a little bit. It shakes up your world. And I wasn't sure if I was in the right position, if I was with the right company, what the future looked like for me. I knew Kayla was a good earner also, because she was in the automotive industry. She was going to have to go on mat leave, and I just wasn't sure what I was going to do next. So yeah, when the baby came, I quit my job as a general manager of 4 years. And, like, you know, I guess you could say I thrive in chaos, because that's one way to turn your world upside down.
Yeah.
Have a new baby, your wife goes on mat leave, and you quit your job.
Yes, we relate, as we were talking
so.
earlier too.
Very
Yeah.
much so.
You got to just take the leap, right?
You got to take the leap, man.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you know, things come in the most unexpected ways. You know, you can pray to God and ask for things, and sometimes things will show up in ways you never expected.
Yeah.
So to touch back on how I got started with Andy Elliott, after we had the baby, I wasn't working. I quit my job. You know, our baby was also colic, so she was crying for about 17 hours a day. So we didn't sleep very much when she was first born. And I also wasn't used to being home every day. You know, I was working.
You were remodeling your house, weren't you, at the same time? Because I watched that journey on your social.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a jack of all trades. You got some talent there. So
Yeah.
managing the baby and the house. Go ahead.
No.
Yeah.
I like, I guess you could say I thrive in chaos.
Yeah, you're so
I'm in the
good
middle
at
of
it.
renovations as well, so things are kind of wild. And I got a call from Ian Macklin. Obviously, he was our coach when we were doing the Andy Elliott training. And he's like, he called me up to go to a Miami event. He's like, hey, Liam, would you like to come to an event with us in Miami? I was like, well, Ian, I don't know. I'm unemployed right now, and I just had a baby, so right now might not be the best time financially. And he's like, well, dude, like, why don't you come coach for us? I was like, coach for Andy Elliott? He's like, yeah. Like, I was like, well, what would that look like? And he goes, well, you know, we have another event coming up. Why don't you come down and check it up? I was like, when is the event? We're on the phone on Monday. He goes, oh, the event's on Thursday. I was like, okay. So he's like, yeah, Thursday. Can you come? All right, so you want me there by Thursday. Today's Monday. Yeah, whatever. Screw it, man. I'll figure it out. So booked a trip, went down to Phoenix, went to the headquarters there, went to an event, man. It was incredible. Went back, started coaching.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I know you make a great coach. You definitely bring the fire and you bring the enthusiasm for sure.
It's good to have energy, man.
Yeah.
It's definitely good to bring the energy for sure.
Yeah. With all those changes, like, at once, you know, you're now engaged, and then Amaya comes into the picture. You're not working. You're making that bold leap, and you're trying to make decisions. Like I know you take your health and your fitness seriously. Like, what are you doing during that time frame? Like when you quit the job, you take the leap, and you're making these life changes. Where's your mental management at with that? Like, how are you keeping? For anybody that's listening, like that takes a bold leap like that, what are you doing to stay mentally fit and physically fit?
It's a great question, Mike. So the first thing that I did, I was like, okay, I just quit my job. I got to figure out everything that I have going on with my life. I'm a new father. I took a break on alcohol. And I think anytime you can take a little pause and hit the reset button, I did 100 days. I was like, okay, I'm going to do 100 days, no booze. Started working out, tried to just be the best person and the best version of myself that I could be for Kayla and for Amaya, for my family, and just really show up for them every day. It was tough, man, because I didn't have a lot of sleep. I'd actually just separated my shoulder the month prior from boxing. We had family staying with us the entire time, so I'd like to say, you know, this incredible journey of how I nailed everything perfect. I didn't. Funny story is, we had all our family staying in our spare bedroom, and we had family there nonstop for 4 months. None of us are sleeping. I had an air mattress set up in the spare bedroom. Air mattress had a hole in it. I'm sleeping on the air mattress. Kayla's sleeping with the baby. Her mom, my dad, his wife, my sister, her brother, everybody came to visit us, and they all stayed in that spare bedroom at separate times. And I was sleeping on that air mattress. And every morning I'd wake up with a sore shoulder because it was separated.
Yeah.
And the bed would be inflated. And I wake up like, oh, God, what have I done? And wake up to a baby crying and everything else. But I just knew that, you know, nothing stays the same forever. Whether you're at a high or you're at a low, nothing's going to stay that way. And right now, I mean, you just met Amaya. She's 9 months old. She's the greatest baby in the world, man. We can bring her anywhere. The whole drive over here, she was incredible. She's just phenomenal, man.
Yeah.
And we're so blessed to have her and the way she is. Even on the flight over here, we flew the red eye from Vancouver to Toronto. We flew out of Victoria this time. And the red eye, she slept pretty much the whole flight, man. She barely cried.
Amazing.
There was a lot of babies on the flight. A lot of the babies cried. She wasn't crying. She was incredible. But for the first 4 months of her life, all she did was cry.
Colic, right? Yeah.
Colic, yeah. Which obviously isn't the baby's fault. She just like couldn't digest food properly and everything else. So
I was a colicky baby.
you know what? So was
told.
I.
Yeah.
So was I. And I think some of that was karma, because I'm sure I wasn't an easy baby. And we had a daughter, but I'm sure when I have a son, he's going to be a little shit like I was. So.
Isn't that how it goes?
I think it is.
Yeah. Gosh, during all that time when you are having all the guests over, all the family over, weren't you in the middle of your remod then too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just started.
You do thrive in chaos.
Dude, I don't know if I was thriving. I was definitely surviving.
Yeah.
I was white knuckling, hanging on for dear life.
Yes.
And I had just started working from home. I had just started coaching with Andy Elliott. So my life was a little bit turned upside down at first. It was really out of the norm for me because I'm so used to being in a routine. I'm very much a routine guy.
Yeah.
Wake up the same time every day, go to the gym, have my meal prepped, show up at work, follow a routine, follow a schedule. I'm very militant in that way.
Structure is so important.
Structure is so important, man. It takes the guesswork out of your day.
Yeah.
And it's so much easier to execute when that happens. So for me, I'm now working from home. I'm a new father. I'm not going into an office. My shoulder's separated. I'm sleeping on an air mattress. I'm not sleeping next to my wife. You know, I'm sober. I'm reading every night. There was a lot of growing pains.
Yeah.
But they helped mold me into the man I am today, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
I love what you just said, because that led into my next question, which was, what kind of changes did you experience during the 100 days no alcohol? Because I also do those sabbaticals, like I told you, and I'm heading up unintentionally, really, on 2 years. Can you believe
Wow.
that? Like
Congrats,
not having
brother.
a cocktail,
That's
just because it hasn't come into. It hasn't been on my radar, right? So I've got all these other things cooking, and I can't weave things into the mix that aren't part of the growth factor, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, during that time, like you were saying, you were reading, all these changes were happening, organic changes. What were some of the positives that you took away from the sabbatical from drinking? Yeah.
One of the greatest things I realized from not drinking, man, is the clarity of vision and headspace that you get into. You know, I grew up playing junior hockey. I grew up in Newfoundland. It's very much a drinking culture, like I already mentioned earlier. Everybody's Irish, right? So they drink and fight. You know, it's kind of what they do, which goes hand in hand with playing hockey and everything else. But I realized what it was like to be able to get up and perform every day, not necessarily on a lot of sleep, because we were sleeping so little. I couldn't imagine what a hangover on top of that would be like.
Yeah.
But it's a serious weight lifted off your shoulders. Like, it's like you're no longer. They call playing guilty in hockey when you're hungover.
Yeah.
I know the Vegas Golden Knights talk about that a lot. That's why they like being there, because when teams come, they end up playing guilty because they're in Vegas, right? Yeah. So it's just a lot easier to do everything, man. It's just easier to execute your day. You stay clear headed. You stay focused. And it was actually a friend of mine, Joey Batista, that had told me, I was like, I'm going to do a dry January. I'm going to do 30 days. He's like, dude, do 100 days.
Yeah.
If you can do 100, you'll be able to change your relationship with alcohol. And I felt like at that point, it would be very beneficial for me to reassess everything. Being a new father, I wanted to be the best version of myself that I could be. And that's exactly what I did, and it was incredible, man. It was.
I love that because that's how it started for me too. I was just fascinated by my habits, and I was like, as I was starting up my business, I had all these life changes happening at once, and I wanted to know what I controlled versus what controlled me. And
100%.
It started with alcohol. It started with caffeine and alcohol. I just wanted to do I set small goals in the beginning. It was like, can I do 30 days no alcohol? And then organically 30 turned into 90 because I would just push through
and you just feel better.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yes.
You're like, why stop now?
And then what the cool part was too was that new habits picked up, right? So I started reading, and then I started reading more, and then it was like I would just force myself to do things just read 2 pages a day, just make the time to do it. And with some kind of book that was going to advance me further within my goals, right? And then it did. And then it was it turned into you're finishing the book in no time, right? Because you're waking up clear-headed mindset, no hangover.
You're like, maybe I'll read in the morning too.
Yes, it was like morning and evening. So
I got a question for you, Mike. What's a book that you've read recently that you would recommend to your listeners that's really kind of changed your perspective, that's given you that extra edge?
Right now, so to speak. Actually, that's a good question. I Can Make Caffeine Nervous by Greg M. Bennett. Great book. I actually have...
As I take a drink of a Celsius?
Yes. So Greg's amazing. I met Greg on a first-class flight. He's from South Carolina, Paris Mountain. And I met him here in Detroit. I was flying out of Detroit. I believe I was going to California. And he was in Detroit receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award for his work in the marketing and advertising industry. He was worked with Sony, Fox, Disney. Wow. I mean, you name the company. He's worked with them, all the hugest brands, Oprah. He's done branded content for everybody. And so met him on the plane. We became instant friends. I consider him a mentor. And I got several copies of his book. I actually have a copy for you in your gift bag over here.
Dude, you're amazing.
Yeah, I have a copy for you because anytime I find my way to a book that takes me to the next level, I just buy a stack of them and start gifting them out to any of my friends that I think it's going to help and benefit.
That's great.
And you're one of those people. So
thank you. Yeah, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to throw the same question back at you. How about you? Any book that's on your radar right now that you want to recommend?
Oh, absolutely. Reading will change your life. Some of the books that I've read recently that have had the biggest impact on me. So Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. It's a phenomenal book. Anything by Napoleon Hill. Think and Grow Rich is a great book. I've listened to the audiobook twice. I've read the book 3 times. I actually just read The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. And as soon as I finished it, I read it a second time so I could better understand it. So it's not how many books you read in a year, it's how well you understand the books. And when you study successful people, a lot of the things that I've been hearing is you should understand a book until you can teach it.
Yeah.
So once I read
I love that you said that. Yeah, that's great.
Dude, 100%. So once I read The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson, I read it again. And that book was phenomenal. The book on mental toughness by Andy Frisella was the first book I picked up when I stopped drinking. And I was like, I want to work on my discipline. And that book really, really talks it goes deep into discipline and just how to be a better person, and really explains 75 Hard and breaks it down and how he started it. And then Relentless by Tim Grover. Obviously, I'm a huge Kobe Bryant fan. Tim Grover's a beast, man. Like, Tim Grover's an incredible dude. And that book, I read that back to back as well.
I love that you said that you read it more than once and you become a student of the book, because I just literally had this conversation with Greg, the guy that I told you wrote I Can Make Caffeine Nervous. I was telling him, he asked me what I liked about his book, and I had to tell him I was becoming a student of the book, because when I get a book that I'm into, I read it more than once, because I feel like a lot of times, sometimes my focus isn't there even though I'm reading, right? I find it sometimes hard to focus, and I'll miss things. And so I read it once, I read it twice, I read it 3 times, and then again, you know what I mean? Then I got my markups.
Yeah.
Are you a highlighter guy?
I got the highlighter out every time.
My Post-its, my pens, I got it all, So that's great advice to give somebody when they're reading a book, is to become a student of it. I love that you said that. Yeah.
100%, man.
And I know the Andy Frisella book too, because I bought a stack of those.
It's great.
Yeah.
That book was also gifted to me by Danny Klein. So thanks, Danny, if you're listening.
Yeah.
I appreciate those 2 books, man. They were game changers for me. And then the seven Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey. Great book. Any book on leadership, man. You can never read too much. But what's most important is, like, life is too short for boring books. So you want to read books that interest you. For me, I read a lot into personal development.
Yeah.
That's what really interests me. And what kind of set me down that path was Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins.
Love that book.
Dude,
yes.
That book is sick. And then I was fortunate enough to be at the David Goggins event as a coach for Andy Elliott when they did the event back in February. I was backstage. Andy Elliott
Dude, that's
was there.
right. You did go.
Yeah.
Did you meet
Yeah,
Goggins?
dude, David Goggins had his shirt off doing push-ups on stage with Andy. Like, it was crazy.
Hilarious, because I told you that I went to the Aspire tour.
Yeah.
Right?
And you said that was us chatting. Yeah, you told me David Goggins was there.
Yes, he was there. He was one of the speakers. He was why I jumped on the plane and went to the Aspire tour that year. Was it the Aspire tour that you went to?
No.
No, okay.
Andy Elliott brought David Goggins to his event.
Oh,
And,
gotcha. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
It was in Scottsdale. It was at Impact Church. It was an incredible event, man.
Amazing.
It was life-changing. The energy in that room, I can't describe it I can't describe it in words. You have to experience something like that for yourself.
Yeah.
It was the most uplifting thing I've ever done.
Yeah. David Goggins, Can't Hurt Me. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. That was a tearjerker for me. I remember I have that book. I have the hard copy and I have it on Audible. And I remember I was listening to it after having read it twice. I was listening to it on a flight going somewhere. And that one hit me.
And what makes the book so cool is he does like a little mini podcast in between chapters, right?
Yeah.
So he doesn't narrate the book, but in between chapters, he talks back and reflects on what happened during those chapters of his life. And it's a super cool book, man. I started reading that during COVID, and it just reprogrammed the way I think.
Yeah.
And meeting David Goggins in real life was so surreal.
So with everything that you've got going on, and you've got your beautiful fiance, you're soon to be married, you've got your beautiful daughter, and you're a son, you've got your folks, and such a beautiful family. Your inner circle must be a well-oiled machine to be, heading in the direction that you're heading. How do you weed out, folks that don't serve you best? That aren't serving you best. That's hard. I went through a long stretch of trying to keep people in my life that I'd come to the end of the road with. And, you just want to hold on as young men. We want to hold on to friendships that we think are serving us, but they're not, Have you run into any roadblocks with that ever?
I don't know if I would say roadblocks, Mike. It's a really good question, by the way. I'm glad you asked it. To touch on one thing, here's what will determine your success in life, and this I'm certain. Behind every good man is a better woman. Have you ever heard that before?
Sure. I've
been very, very blessed to have the right partner in my life. I mean, without Kayla, I couldn't have the family that I have. She's the rock in our family. She's the glue that holds it all together. She's, the mom of the year. I admire her so much. And with everything that she's able to do to support our family, that allows me to chase my dreams and my goals, because I know the family is always taken care of because she's there.
Yeah.
And with that being said, I've been very blessed to meet so many great people in my life. I mean, you being one of them. That's obviously how we ended up on this podcast. You know, I've got a lot of great friends. I've met so many incredible people. But I think a lot of it comes down to who are you as a person, right? What type of people are you attracting into your life?
Yeah.
What type of vibes are you putting out there? Are you the guy who holds the door for somebody, or you do close the door for somebody when they're walking behind you? You know, it's the little things in life that add up and make a big difference. And the type of energy and vibes that you put out into the world are the type of people that you attract.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm a perfect person by any means, but I have so many incredible friends and incredible people in my life that I think it's just truly a blessing, man.
That's fantastic.
I don't know if I'm just lucky or what, but I have so many great people around me. Of course, those are the people I always keep closer. I try and stay, family is very important to me. I always try and stay close to my family, and I make sure I make time for my mom, my dad, and of course my daughter, my fiance, and the in-laws and everyone else. But I mean, they're all great. They're all just so great. But you are what you attract in a way, if that makes sense.
It does. I think you make some good points. I had experienced some adversity in as I was making life changes for myself. You know, I was hanging out with a lot of people that I guess didn't have my best interest, but that's what I was putting out, I guess. You know what I mean? And so when you start making life changes for yourself and there's people that aren't really rooting for you, you kind of have to figure out your way. You have to figure out a way to get out of those circles, right? Because not everyone's meant to go with you.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people are just in your life for a minute.
Yeah.
And some are there forever, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You just need to make peace with that. Not everybody is there with you for the full journey, right? Some people are just there for a scene, right? Not everyone's there for the full movie.
Yeah.
And when you make peace with that and you realize that not everyone is going to stay in your life forever, not everyone is meant to be in your life forever. Some people show up in your lives just to teach you a lesson.
Yep.
And it feels like, you know, maybe they did you wrong or they burned you or, you know, they stole from you. I mean, I've been cheated on in the past. I've been stolen from, all those types of things. But do you take that as life is happening to me or life is happening for me?
Yeah. Lessons.
And lessons, bro.
Yeah.
And I see it as life is happening for me.
Yeah.
Life happens for me, not to me. And everybody that shows up in your life is there to teach you something. They're either there from the beginning to the end, or they're there just for a quick scene. And no matter how long they're in your life for, there's something you can take away from that situation. Even if they did you wrong, there's something you can learn from that situation. Hey, maybe I don't act that way again.
Yeah.
You need to reflect on what you did by attracting those people into your life. Because if you talk to anybody successful, they'll say, show me your friends are, and I'll tell you who you are, right?
Yeah.
It truly does determine your success.
You are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
100%.
So true.
And the more successful you become, the more you'll realize people will drop off out of your life. And you'll realize that not everybody has a purpose there anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I still have friends that I talk to that I grew up with. But then there's also a lot of people I grew up with that I was friends in elementary school or high school that no longer serve that purpose. So sometimes you need to take inventory. You need to take inventory of your life, of the friends that you have.
Yeah.
You take inventory of your spouse. Take inventory of everything that's happening in your life and say, does this serve me for where I want to go, or is this holding me back?
Yeah. I love that you said that too, taking inventory, because I did that. That was huge for me. I mean, like, I literally got out the pen and paper and audited myself. You know what I mean? It was like, why are these things happening? What part did I play in that? How can I make it better? Who should be in my life, who shouldn't be, and whose life should I be in and should I not be in, you know?
100%. And it's like, what are you adding to your friends' lives? Like, what type of value are you adding?
Yeah.
Right? So it's not just what type of value are they adding, what type of value are you adding?
There should be reciprocity in that.
100%.
You know what I mean? I think that's where it's at, is value. I mean, I want to make sure that the people I'm giving my time to, I'm adding value to. And the people who's giving me their time, I need value back, you know?
Well, you see that happen to like a lot of professional athletes and stuff. You know, they bring their friends up from high school or junior high or whatever else. And, you know, next thing you know, they buy this guy a house and this guy a car, and they're trying to take care of everybody, and then they're broke, right?
Yeah.
You can't please everybody in life, and you truly have to see who's serving you.
Yeah.
You know, who are the ones that truly care?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very, very blessed that my fiance Kayla has been there with me when I've had nothing, and as we continue to grow and we continue to level up in life, she's just been there every step of the way, and she has no expectations other than that, I'm a good person and I'm there for my daughter and I'm there for her and I'm there for my family. And yeah, I think we have a pretty good relationship. So
That's fantastic. What are you looking forward to in the future, career-wise at this point? Because I know that the sky's the limit with your family. I know that for sure. I'm sure there's just many great times ahead of you with that. But as far as your career goes and your personal and professional development, what are you looking forward to? I know it's important to be present, and I know you're that guy. You're present, you're in the moment, you're experiencing life. But is there anything that you're really looking forward to? I have those goals. I'm a present person also, but I do have future dreams, you know what I mean, that are just there.
never stop dreaming.
Yeah.
Like your dreams are yours and yours alone. Nobody can take your dreams from you.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing about dreams, is that they're yours. And if your dreams don't scare the shit out of you, I don't know if we can swear on this podcast,
We can.
but I said
Swear
it.
away.
Yeah. Okay, so if your dreams don't scare the shit out of you, you're not dreaming big enough.
Yeah.
So I want to leave an auto group for my family. I want my daughter. I think she's extremely intelligent. She's catching on to everything very quickly. We'll see what it's like when I have a son. Hopefully I have a son. That's what I've always hoped for. But I'm so happy to have a daughter, and I'm glad I had a baby girl first. But this girl is smart, man. And, there's not enough women in the car business, and I want to leave a legacy behind for my family. I want to leave my family name on this world, and honestly, one of my biggest fears is leaving this world before I feel like I reach my true potential, and I'm nowhere near close to where I'm going to end up.
Yeah. I love that.
I want to leave a mark. I want to be able to help more people. I want to be able to leave something for my kids to take over. Do you remember in Step Brothers where he's like, well, I'm going to take over the family business, Dad. He's like, Dale, I'm a doctor. It's not how it works.
Right.
It's funny. My dad was in healthcare also, so
Yeah.
I couldn't exactly take over the family business. So that's what made me think of that. But I very much want my kids to take over my business and my industry. And I just want to continue to work hard and make sure that I leave something that makes them proud, and obviously teach them discipline and not have them ever grow up where they feel like something's owed to them.
Yeah.
I want them to be able to work for it. I just don't want to pass something down and be like, oh, it's yours now. No, you have to earn it.
Yeah.
I think it's really important that kids grow up and they feel like they have a purpose and discipline as opposed to entitlement. I never grew up with any entitlement. I had nothing to inherit, and I honestly didn't know what I was going to do with my life, but that's what put a chip on my shoulder, and that's what made me want to work harder.
Yeah. I know your father's very proud of you, because I love getting to know your father.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah, Colin Patey, he's the man. I want to have
He's
him
a
back.
beauty.
I want to have him on my podcast.
You should, dude.
Yeah, we
He'd be great on
connected.
here.
We connected on many levels, and we have a very similar background. And he's just a major asset to the planet. And I know he shared with me how proud he is of you and the man that you are. And I think that's amazing. Those are great goals to have. I love that you have dreams and you're not afraid to share them. And that just because you're planning for your future doesn't mean you're not present.
100%.
You're very much a present person. I think that Kayla's lucky to have you, and your daughter's lucky to have you as a father. Can't wait till
Thank
you
you.
have your boy.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I wanted a boy first, and God blessed me with a baby girl.
Yeah.
And it's because I needed a girl first.
Yeah.
I needed to slow down a little bit. And what I learned from being a father, it taught me patience and it taught me love. And tough love is kind of one of the ways I grew up. And to touch on what you just said, I love that my dad told you he's proud of me, because I don't think he's ever officially told me. But it's cool that he told you that. And for me to have a girl, like, I always kind of grew up where, like I said, when I separated my shoulder, I first did it playing hockey, and I was literally at practice the next day. Like, you get a concussion, you're out playing again. Shake it off, right? That kind of thing. So I had that type of leadership and that type of mentality for a long time, and I realized I was wrong, man. You need to lead with love.
Yeah.
Because no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yeah.
And that changed the way I look at the world and the way I lead people and lead businesses. And having a girl first, it opened up a level of love I didn't know I was capable of. And yeah, man, it's God's greatest blessing.
Yeah, it's brought out the softer side of you. doesn't mean you're not a hardworking man, and you're not full of.
Totally okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Testosterone.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah.
And you come from that rowdy background of hockey. You know what I mean?
That's
so
right.
yeah,
That's right.
yes.
No, that's why I had a girl first, and I'm really glad that I did. And Amaya's the cutest kid in the world.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend the whole podcast talking about my
No,
kid.
she's
but
a beauty.
Dude, I honestly
Yeah.
could. She's the biggest beauty.
Yeah.
She's the biggest beauty. Yeah, she's super chill.
Yeah, love it. Loved having lunch with you guys. And well, I can appreciate how seriously you take fatherhood. It's so good. And, just kind of getting back to shaping you as a father and shaping you as a husband and as a son. What is some adversity that you've been through that's helped take you to the next level to be a better father, to be a better, husband to your future wife, and a better son for your folks?
Damn, man, that's a good question. That's deep. COVID was a tough time for people. In Canada, it was even more restrictive than it was in the States. We weren't able to go outside. Fortunately for us, the car business was deemed an essential service.
Yeah.
So we were still going to work. So I started a business at the start of COVID. And the business platform was, we're going to be able to deliver you a car. You can shop online, you can look at pictures, everything else. We'll send you videos, and we'll deliver it, contactless directly to your door. The drivers would be, everything would be sanitized, all that kind of stuff. And business really started to take off. But anyone who's ever started a business know that it's not going to be as easy as you think it's going to be. It's going to take way more work than you anticipated. And especially during COVID. It was a tough time to get into business. Some businesses thrived, like the car business boomed during COVID. But for a lot of people, they struggled during that time. And for me, I was working 12 hours a day. I was driving an hour to and from work. I'd get up at 6 a.m. I'd be out the door by 7. I'd be at work by 8 in the morning. I'd leave at 8 o'clock at night. I'd go home by 9 p.m. I'd have a quick meal. I'd go to bed. Rinse and repeat Monday to Saturday. I did that 6 days a week. And I remember specifically, so I was carrying all these stresses of starting a new business, plus whatever else. And I remember specifically exactly where I was. I got a bit of a weird photographic memory in that way. And I was driving home from work. It was about 8:30 at night. I stopped to pick up food so Kayla wouldn't have to cook because she worked late that day also. And I got a call from my dad, and he said, "Hey, Liam, your mom's in the hospital." I was like, is she okay? He's like, "Well, she had a stroke. So we're not sure. I'll keep you updated." Dude, my mom raised me, so I know you just met my dad. He's a wicked dude, but she raised me as a single mother. My dad moved to the Middle East when I was pretty young, and he moved away for work. But my mom's the one who raised me, and she raised my sister and I on, one household income. And we were very, very close. Like, I'm definitely a mama's boy. She's been everything for me in my life. And when I found out she first had a stroke, I didn't really know how to process it. So I'm driving home, I got an hour drive. I called Kayla. I'm like, "Hey, Kayla, Helen just had a stroke." She started to cry. She's like, "Are you okay?" I was like, yeah, I'm fine. She's like, "Are you sure?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm good." So I get home, no emotion. A couple of days go by, find out she has another stroke. Now she can't move the left side of her body. She can't talk. She's in the emergency room. And what makes this tough is because it was during COVID, in Newfoundland, they closed Newfoundland off to anyone that wasn't from Newfoundland.
Oh, wow.
So you physically couldn't travel to that province.
Yeah.
So I couldn't go home and see her. I couldn't go home and say goodbye to my mom. I didn't know when I was going to bury her. I didn't know how she was going to go. I just knew that she was in the emergency room and I might never see her again. And during that time, I really didn't know how to handle it. I didn't realize I wasn't into self-development like I am now. That's actually what started my self-development journey. But I just didn't know how to handle it, man. I was like, that's fine. You'll shake it off, No need to cry. You're a big boy. Be yourself. But deep down, I was broken. And I didn't know how to deal with it. So I just started drinking. I would go home. I would just drink until the pain went away. And, I'd just sit down by myself, watch Sports Center, or read a book, watch the news, whatever. I'd have a scotch, and then I'd have another and another. Eventually, the bottle would be gone, and I would go to bed and I'd wake up and do that over again. And nobody at work knew what was going on. I didn't tell anybody at work that my mom was in the emergency room, that she was going to die, or maybe she wasn't going to die. I really had no idea, so I didn't want to talk on it and put anything bad into the universe, but I didn't know if she was going to live, and none of us knew if she was. And fortunately, she made a full recovery, and, as far as strokes go, she ended up having 3, but as far as strokes go, man, she's made a full recovery. She's back to teaching, so she teaches 1 course online now. But it was that time that made me realize that I wasn't okay, and I wasn't prepared mentally to handle something like that, because shit's always going to come up in your life. Nothing's ever going to go perfect. Nothing's ever going to go the way you expect it to go in life. There's always going to be, bumps and roadblocks and whatever else, and it's how you handle these obstacles that define and determine who you become. So I remember chatting with Kayla one day, like months went by, and there was a long period of time where I couldn't talk to my mom, and I didn't know what was going to happen with her. And I just wasn't crying. I wasn't showing any emotion. I was just drinking. I wasn't myself. I remember Kayla's like, Liam, you really need some help. And I didn't believe in therapy at the time. And I mean, I've had it since, and I recommend it to anybody that's struggling with anything to do with mental health, because it's okay to not be okay. That's really important to know. But during that time, I just thought that, I was the rock for my family. I had to be the one who was the tough guy and everything else, the one everyone could depend on. And I realized that by trying to be that person, I was destroying myself. And what I learned from that is that your partner, your wife, your spouse, whoever, they're not your therapist. So I needed an actual therapist. And what I ended up doing was Tony Robbins life coaching. And I did that for 2 years, and I started to journal, and I started to talk about my feelings, my emotions, and that's what started me on this personal development journey, man. And that's, honestly the reason why I'm here and I am who I am today, because had I not have found that help and reached out for it when I needed it the most, I mean, who knows what could happen, right? You could just keep drinking, or you could not become a success, or there's so many things, and there's so many things that can happen when you go into that place mentally. But I knew that I had to be there, and I had to stay strong for my family. But by doing that, I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't checking how I was doing mentally. I was worried about everyone else. How's my sister? I was even worried about Kayla at the time. How's my fiance? How's everybody else in the family? But I never stopped to look at how I was doing, and I wasn't okay. And
Yeah.
it took me some deep soul searching, man, to truly become the best version of myself. But when you're in a relationship with somebody, and for anybody who's single, if you want to find a better partner, it starts within.
Yeah.
Work on yourself.
Yeah.
Become a better version of you, and you'll attract better people into your life. And I realized at that time, I was like, okay, what I'm doing isn't working. Obviously the scotch isn't helping. The not crying isn't helping. Sat down, man, started journaling, started to cry. I was like, maybe she doesn't live through this, and maybe that's okay. So I came to grips with it, and she pulled out. So it was incredible.
That's amazing. Everything you just said was such an impact, and you had me on pins and needles for a minute there. I was not in the know on the story of your mother, so thank you for sharing that story, and I'm so glad she made a
Full recovery.
full recovery. Yeah, that's so good.
What's ironic is that's what really set me on the personal development journey, and literally that's how we met. So if all those things and all those events didn't transpire in my life, I wouldn't be sitting here on this podcast with you.
Yeah.
We never would have met.
Yeah.
Because after I started the Tony Robbins life coaching, that's when I was like, okay, I just got to get better. 1% better every day. I just got to be a little bit better than I was yesterday. I'm tired of the guy I was. That guy's dead. I never want to meet him again. How do I become the best version of myself?
And stay that way.
And stay that way.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to regress and go back to old
No.
habits.
No, you don't.
No.
And that's why I realized, so to touch back on your thing with addictions and mental health, I realized during that time, I drank not by choice. I drank because I needed to numb the pain.
Yeah.
But I thought that I was being tough by not crying. But what I didn't realize is it's only cowards that run from their fears.
Yeah.
Like a real man will sit down, face their fears in the face, and say, "What next?"
Walk through the fire.
Walk through the fire, man.
I started doing it too.
And cry.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I started doing it too. I started doing all my personal development stuff while I was in my professional development mode and starting my business. And I found myself sitting in the sauna. I was in the sauna and it
Sweat it out.
Oh my God, but literally it was like changing my oil, and I just burst into tears one day, and I was going through all this turmoil, and it just floodgates opened, and I was like, holy shit. When I got out of the sauna, I was like, oh my God, that was so therapeutic. I couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I started incorporating that as a part of my regular regimen. It was fantastic, and it was just like, it was a place that you could just let it all out, and it was definitely serving me, and there was a lot in there that needed to come out. Holy shit.
Yeah, man. It builds up,
Yeah.
and the sooner, if anybody's listening to this that's a little bit younger, the sooner you can start to work on yourself, the better your life's going to get.
Yeah.
The sooner you can take a good hard look in the mirror. Like, if you don't like what you have right now, don't point the finger outward. Point the finger inward and take a good hard look in the mirror and say, what can I change in my life? Control the controllables. And I love to control the controllables. Obviously, being the general manager of a business and having been in management for years, I like to be able to control what I can control.
Yeah.
I don't like to leave things up to chance. So the one thing, so you can't control the weather. You can't control the outcome of your day, but you can control the perspective of it, and you can control the lens that you see things, and that's what you need to focus on. You need to focus on finding the good in everything in your life. You can't be upset and happy at the same time. So I always talk about starting your day with gratitude. Even before I came on this podcast with you, Mike, I was like, thank you, God. I'm so grateful that I'm here. I'm so thank you, God, for having such an incredible life and so many great friends and family. And thank you for this opportunity and all these types of things, because you can't be upset if you're grateful.
Yeah. I agree.
You can't be angry if you're grateful.
I start my day out like that too, and it carries throughout the day. So it's not just in the morning, but it's in the afternoon, and it's in the evening too, and it's any time I'm feeling vulnerable, really, and I just always shift my gears back to gratitude. And back to your point earlier, I'm talking about just mixing the good and the bad with relationships in your life. I learn from everybody, right? Same as you. It's there's something to take away from every situation, whether it's a positive or a negative. There's a lesson there. There's something to be learned. I think that's very valuable. I think it's great that you've come to those conclusions in your life, and you're passing it along to people too. And I always find my way to folks with more life experience and folks with less life experience. I like connecting with them to get their perspectives
100%.
and share my perspectives with them.
Yeah.
And you, as a team leader, you must have a mixture of both. People with more life experience above you and less life experience below you,
Yeah.
where you're bridging the gaps.
It's funny you mentioned that. The first time I truly noticed that, so I became the youngest general manager in our auto group of 17 stores at 25 years old. And as soon as I showed up and I was the general manager of this store, I had guys in parts and service that we took over the store from another company, and I had guys in parts and service that were 45 years old,
Yeah.
50 years old, and they'd be doing it forever. And they're probably like, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah.
Why is he our boss? So I answer to him now. I'm some 25-year-old kid. And it's interesting that you mentioned that, because you can take something away from everybody, man. Everybody you can learn something from.
Did you find, because I've been in your shoes at that age, did you find yourself getting any pushback?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, okay, I did too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I probably deserved it at the time, man.
Yeah.
I wasn't half the person that I am today, but that's what life is, man. Life is a journey.
Yeah.
And you can't just focus on the destination. And when I talk about gratitude, you can't just say that, oh, I'll be happy when, I'm worth $10 million or $100 million, or it could be I could be happy when I have $1,000 in my bank account. Whatever it is, whatever your goals are, you can't tie your happiness to that.
Yeah.
Right? So you can't say, oh, I'll be happy when I have a Lamborghini. Oh, I'll be happy when I start this business, or I get that girl. You need to look at the things that you have in your life that you're grateful for right now,
Yep.
and find happiness in the journey right? We all aspire to be better. We all want more things out of life.
I love where you're going with this, because I just got into a conversation with a good friend and brother of mine, Jesse, who was on a podcast previous to you. And, this is something that I think is important to hit home to any guys, any age really, but like the younger guys that, we met through personal professional development group.
Yep.
And we found our way to those because we were making life changes. But, I meet so many people that want everything right now. Like everyone wants to be huge, lean, and jacked now.
100%.
And they want the marriage now and
Yeah.
babies now. And it's like all at the same time. But it's like, trust the process. Don't rush the process. Trust the journey kind of deal. For me, it was like singular focus and just let it organically evolve. We can't possibly have everything right now.
Throughout my time of working for Andy Elliott, there's one thing that stuck with me the most, and it will stick with me forever. He says, chase the man, not the money. And when you become the man that you're supposed to be, or woman, or whoever, right? When you become the person that you're supposed to be, that's when you'll have what it is you're asking God for.
I love that he said that, because when I was starting up my nonprofit, I had wrote down on a piece of paper, money is the outcome, not the goal.
100%.
And so, because I was on a new journey, I was on a new spiritual path and a whole new life trajectory. And
Yeah.
It was amazing. And all I could see was the future. Even though I was in the present, you know what I mean, letting everything unfold organically, I had a new mindset, and that was just took me to the next level.
Well, dude, even with me, with taking over a new business and 2 stores, obviously there's a lot of staff there I got to get to know. And sometimes when you're taking over a new store or you're taking over a new business, obviously everybody wants to increase the profit margins, right? You want to see it do better than, that's kind of the measure of business. But profit will be a byproduct of what it is you're truly trying to accomplish. So when you focus on taking care of your customers, you focus on taking care of your staff and having a good culture and a good work environment, the profit will come. It will be a byproduct of everybody enjoying going to work every day.
Yeah.
It will be a byproduct of your customers getting a truly incredible experience. Profit's not a dirty word. Right? Everybody knows you're in business for profit. Right? If you couldn't, there would be no business.
Yeah.
Right? But it's about taking care of your staff, taking care of your clients, making sure these people are happy and putting them first. And the profit will be a byproduct of those things coming.
Money is a tool.
Money is 100% a tool.
Yeah, it's not evil. It's good.
And it's what are you going to do with that money?
Right, exactly.
And a lot of people say money will make you a bad person. Money doesn't make you a bad person. Money amplifies the person you already are. So if you're a great person, you'll do great things with your money. But if you're a bad person with no money, you start to make some money, you're going to do bad things with it.
Yeah. And again, that comes back to who's in your circle, who are you surrounding yourself with, and who do you aspire to inspire,
100%.
It's got to start with yourself. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, ask yourself, who are your mentors?
Yeah.
Who are you looking up to?
Yeah.
What trajectory do you see your life going? That's one of the most important things. I think it's really important for anyone listening to this to truly take a moment and reflect and figure out where are you going in your life, what impact do you want to make, and what's your goals? Like, what are your goals and why? Every time I sit down and I do any level of training with anyone, I always ask them, what are your goals? Why? Oh, I want to sell more cars. Why? Well, so I can take better care of my family. Okay, why? Well, my wife isn't working. We're, $25,000 in debt. I got 3 kids at home, or my wife just left me, or whatever the story is. Everybody has a different story. But you truly need to connect to your why to be able to find a bigger purpose, to find that motivation, and to find the drive and determination to go on, to keep moving forward on days when it sucks.
Yeah.
Because not every day is easy.
No.
There's going to be times when it sucks. And when you connect to your why, that's when you can keep moving forward, man. Because otherwise, any slight distraction, any speed bump along the way, you're just going to quit. Like, think about how many people are say, oh, I'm going to get in shape on January 1st. Come February, they stop going to the gym. Well, why'd you do that? If you just want to get in shape to have a better body, when you get a better body, are you still going to go to the gym? You need to tie it to a bigger purpose. You need to tie it to a bigger reasoning than that. So like for me, why did I want to get in better shape? Because, January last year, I was 235 pounds. I wasn't in great shape, and I'm working on getting in better shape every day. But how do I stay consistent? Because I want to live longer to spend more time with my family. I want to be healthier. That's why I can go out and I can have, I can count my macros, but I can also have a good meal.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to turn away the mac and cheese at dinner if mama made it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to sit down and enjoy that. But at the same time, I'm still going to be cautious of what it is that I eat. I'm going to be cautious of how often I exercise. When it comes to your fitness journey, there's no destination. It never stops.
It's a continuum.
It's
an
a
ever-evolving
continuum.
journey.
It never ends.
Yes, I love it. And that was my goal. I got into the fitness world just based on my mental fitness goals. The aesthetics came with, you know what I mean? It was like the aesthetics came with the journey, and that was one thing leads to another, but that was what it was for me. Those were my goals, was just to have a clear mind. My focus had shifted, and it was more about my overall wellness and longevity, because I watched so many people throughout the mental health field, you know what I mean, of all ages, from a young perspective, from when I was a young man, 18, 15 really. I watched that, just organic observation of others. I didn't want to be, living a life well into my 80s and 90s experiencing turmoil, you know what I mean, with my body
Totally.
breaking down. And it's like, just taking care of yourself can really take you to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I like that you
Very
said
important. Yeah. Yeah, and you've got a little one, so.
Absolutely.
And you're planning for the future with more, so.
Definitely want more.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I got to commend you on your fitness journey, because I've watched it, through your social media, and we stay in touch, and you're definitely committed. And I think that goes a long way. You have to have consistency.
Consistency is key.
Yeah, it is. And you've definitely got that locked down, because you're in the gym and you're posting about it. You've got the social proof to back it up and the actual results.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's poster. It didn't happen, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm just kidding, man. That was one of the things, honestly, dude, that was one of the things that I had struggled with the most. So, like, growing up, playing sports, everything else, like, it all came natural. Like, I didn't have to try and be in shape. I competed in kickboxing in high school. I always had a six-pack. And then I found myself at a later date, when I stopped being an athlete, now I had to struggle. I didn't have the discipline when I was younger. I was in the car business. The car business can be unhealthy. And I learned that you have to make a point to put yourself first, because if you're not living an active lifestyle, you have to have the discipline to go out of your way to go and do that. Like, nobody wants to wake up at 5 a.m. and go to the gym. Like, when you wake up and you've got your daughter over there and your wife or whoever, and it's so warm and cozy in your bed, and your alarm goes off, and you're like, do I really need to get up? And then that voice inside your head, that inner bitch voice goes, nah, man, just stay in. You're going to be fine. You're in great shape. Just like my mom always tells me, why are you going to the gym? You look great. Yeah, Mom, because I'm going to the gym.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I stopped eating your mac and cheese. But
On a regular basis.
yeah,
anyway.
exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. But it's so much easier to stay in bed than it is to get up and go to the gym.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly why you should go.
Yes.
If you do the hard things early, the rest of the day gets easier.
You know what's interesting too? Once you get on a journey like that, it gets addicting. So
Dude,
it's like,
100%.
yeah, you're training bad habits for good. And I remember to a point, getting to a point where I could not wait to get up the next day to go to the gym, because then the results are kicking in. You're seeing them unfold right before your eyes, and they're undeniable. You know what I mean? Then you take a progress photo, and that's exciting, and that gets you motivated and gets you out of bed. And that was good for me. I mean, like, I had made so many changes about my schedule that I ended up getting up at 2 a.m. to get to the gym. You know what I mean? I was like, some days, that's some
David Goggins type shit right there.
At some periods of my life, I was doing 2 and 3 a days.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. But you know what? To touch on something you just said there, and I'm really glad you brought it up. You changed your bad habits for good.
Yeah.
If you don't like where you're at in life, analyze your habits. Small daily disciplines equate to big results.
Yeah.
Like, if you go to the gym today, let's say you eat a salad today and you go work out for 6 hours, are you going to be in shape tomorrow? No. Right?
I am, right? No, I'm just...
you might be. But for anybody who's currently not in shape, they're like, well, how do I get started? Well, just take one step.
Yeah.
Go to the gym for 10 minutes. Go to the gym for 20 minutes. Better yet, just get a membership and show up.
That was legit how I started out, just taking walks, dude.
Dude, that's it.
Yes.
Everybody starts somewhere different, right? Like, you don't just people like marathon runners and ultra marathon runners, they don't just start by running ultra marathons.
Yeah.
You start by going for a walk, or you start by going for a run. And you, like, when you start with a 5-mile run, then you go to 10 mile and 20 mile, and if you
You're
build
stacking
off of
wins.
that. You have to stack wins. And
Yep.
the earlier in the day you can stack your wins, the better off you are.
Yep.
So even if you can go to the gym for 30 minutes a day for 3 times a week, you're moving in the right direction. You just got to ask yourself, what I'm doing today moving me closer to my goals?
Yeah.
Yes or no? Like, does having these friends that are constantly telling me to go out and party, is that moving me closer to the goal of becoming a millionaire, or becoming a great father, or becoming, an ultra marathon runner, or whatever it is you want to do? That's where it comes down to taking inventory.
Yeah.
Take inventory of your life, take inventory of your friends, but most importantly, take inventory of your habits. Mm-hmm. If you want to change your life, change your habits.
Yeah.
And small tweaks, man, will make the biggest results. And that's all it takes. And that's when I started to change. When I started to look at my daily disciplines. What am I doing? What time am I going to bed? What time am I waking up? What am I eating every day? What am I reading? Am I watching CNN or Fox News, or am I reading a self-development book?
Right.
Those are the little things that make a big difference, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
What you feed your brain, right? Garbage in is garbage out.
That's right.
So what you feed your brain has the biggest impact on your life.
That's a great point too. Is I had gotten away from media, news outlets that weren't serving me best, because you're taking all that in, you're consuming, right?
Dude, there's a ton of them.
I purged it all, and that's kind of what led us to meet up when we met up. Was I found my way into leadership, the self-development books, professional development books, and then YouTube. YouTube was a game changer for me because I cut TV out, and it started with one of those challenges like the no alcohol deal.
Yeah.
I did it with TV, and then it's been 10 years
Nice.
that since I've walked away from TV like that.
Yeah.
And just like with
So
the exception
you're saying
of,
you don't watch any TV?
No, with the exception of like YouTube and like movies and different things like that, but like mainstream TV, cable, nothing, none of that.
Good for
no, I will see it when I go to Florida to visit my folks, because they're news watchers. It's always on, so you can't avoid
in
it.
Florida, 100%.
Yeah, you can't. I think we were talking about that with your dad at lunch. Yeah,
dude, if you're not going on Google and typing in Florida man, what are you even doing, right? Because like if you ever need like a little bit of a lighthearted day, just do that.
Yeah, it's all going down in Florida. All
100%.
the crazies going down in Florida. Dude, I've had such a good time chatting with you today. I think you've made such an impact on me and the audience, and there's so many takeaways from this chat we've had. It's been so amazing.
It's been incredible, man.
Yes. Where can people find you on social media to stay in touch?
So you'll find me on Instagram under my name, Liam Pey, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. I haven't been doing as much. I've been learning how to cook on YouTube, been watching a lot of how to properly smoke meats. I'm in America now, so maybe if anybody's listening, shoot me a DM if you're a pro at that. Help me up my brisket game.
You know who I know is a pro at that?
Who's
is
that?
Colin Patey, your father.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. We got to get him a YouTube cooking channel.
Dude, that guy needs to be on YouTube
Yes.
for sure.
I got to have him on my podcast.
But yeah, you can find me by my name on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, Liam Pey. That's me, brother.
Awesome. It's been such a pleasure having you in the studio today, and I'm so grateful to have you here. Thank you for making the trek with your beautiful family. I've had such a great time.
Dude, it's been incredible, man. Give me a hug.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're the man. Yes. Appreciate it.
All right, guys, I'm feeling very inspired today. Now follow Liam on all of his handles, and that's a wrap.